Hey guys, Scott here. Today I want to go over my experiences with Chaos Shuffle, and I want to talk about the cycle of sweat that I have noticed in it. Now, for a bunch of different reasons, I have found Chaos Shuffle to be notably sweatier than the main game of Dead by Daylight, which is funny because that game is already pretty sweaty a lot of the time. And I think there's a whole bunch of different reasons. It's not just one thing, and I wanted to just go over what they are because I just find it interesting to discuss what causes people to play so much more competitively and seriously in a limited time, probably supposedly more for fun game mode. So there's a couple of different factors. I would say the first one is we just happen to hit the perfect storm of having triple blood points right now. And having triple blood points makes people want to get more blood points. How do you do that? Well, you do more gens, you get more saves, you get more kills, you get out 4Ks, you slug for the 4K, get that extra bonus there. There's a lot more incentive to get as many blood points as possible per match. And typically, even without a limited time game mode, if there's triple blood points, people are going to be playing a bit more sweaty because they want to extract as many blood points from that as possible. Triple BP is a pretty rare thing, and people really want to take advantage of that. So even without the mode in general, people would still be doing that, at least in my opinion. Now, if that was not the case, there's still a couple of other reasons, and it's kind of hard to figure out who started this cycle, but it's never ending now. Much like the cycle of sweat in regular Dead by Daylight, where a killer has a bad game, the survivors beat the hell out of him, and then the next game, the killer takes it out on the next survivors that are not at all being sweaty, but for some reason, that's a huge problem in this game. People take out their frustration of the last match on the next players as if that somehow is getting payback. Like, it makes no sense to me, but that is something that a lot of people do, and it seems worse in Chaos Shuffle, and the reason is, I don't know if it's a hot take or not, depending on the role that you play, but I have played both sides in this event, and this mode is absolutely survivor-sided. And I think the clear proof of that is just blanket statement, who's easier, a survivor with no perks or a killer with no perks? Which is easier to win with? Obviously, survivor with no perks is it's far easier to win. And that's because survivor perks are usually, overall, on average, less impactful than, a killer perk. There's not really like an equivalent to, the slowdown that the killer can apply, other than like niche scenarios with like Commodious Toolbox, Hyperfocus Stakeout. Like, they do exist, but it's not something that you're going to get randomized in Chaos Shuffle for sure. So the base game itself of Dead by Daylight is literally balanced around the killer having slowdown perks, unless you're like, Nurse or Blight or Billy or something like that. The game is literally balanced around you having some slowdown perks. If you have none, it's not in your favor. So just out the gate, it is absolutely harder for killer to win in this mode, with one exception. Now, this punishes me a lot because I try to get 12 hooks every match. I try to play as fair as possible. But there is one good thing for killer going for this mode is you can sort of guarantee that they're not going to have anti-tunnel perks. So if someone gets unhooked, it's pretty much a guarantee they're not going to have DS or off the record or something like that. It's very unlikely that they will. So killers can actually tunnel easier. And the thing is, because they have no slowdown, they feel the need to do so. So because the game is harder to win without slowdown, and you're pretty much never going to get slowdown as killer, you have to try to win quicker. And because there's no protection against that from the survivor, killers are being more tunnely because they sort of have to, or they're just going to lose. And to combat that, survivors are bringing in Giga Commodious Toolboxes with BMPs, sockets, swivels, all that good stuff. They're bringing in syringes and stip picks. Every game, there's at least one BMP, one syringe, one stip pick. Every single game without fail, at least from my experience. And it's because they have to deal with killers that are playing super sweaty, because the killers are being pressured because they can't win without slowdown, because the game is not built around you not having slowdown. And to combat that, like, you can see how it's just a cycle that just never really stops. And this all comes from the fact that the mode is survivor-sided. So I would say that this is the result of killers. I would say that more of the blame is on killers, but it's not really fair to say that because they're just having a response to how much more difficult the game is in this mode. Again, if you have a team of survivors with no perks versus a killer with no perks, the survivors are going to have the advantage almost every single time. And that's not to say that, survivor perks aren't impactful, but, because there's only 4 killer perks and 16 survivor perks, the effect of each missing perk on killer is much more pronounced overall in a match. So I've played both killer and survivor in this mode. Survivor, without a doubt, does feel easier. And that's because I think I got like one slowdown perk in 4 hours. It's just Beast of Prey, Territorial. Occasionally you'll get some like decent perk like Coup de Grace or something like that. But for the most part, I pretty much never get slowdown perks. And I got to say, as Nemesis with no slowdowns, it's damn near impossible to 12 hook people. They pretty much have to fuck up a lot. I don't care if I hit every single tentacle. He just simply does not have the map control to get 12 hooks on people. I just can't do it, even if they're far worse than me. I just don't have enough time to do it unless they really, really screw up. So it is certainly killer hard mode, at least in my opinion. Again, unless you play super sweaty as well as killer. If you play super sweaty and you tunnel people out, it's a lot easier to tunnel. So I guess it really depends how you play the game. If you try to spread hooks and try to get as many blood points as possible and have the match go on for as long as possible, this is without a doubt a survivor-sided mode, because that's just extremely hard to do as killer in this mode. But if you are going to be playing sweaty as killer, you're not going to have any slowdowns, but they're not going to have any protection against tunneling too. So it kind of evens out. So the mode actually ends up being kind of balanced again, but in the worst way possible. Because although, it's balanced, balance doesn't equal fun. The killer balance there would be, I have no slowdown, so I got to kill a guy immediately. And so one survivor with no protection is getting tunneled out really early because the killer feels forced to do that. And that's not exactly fun for the killer. It's not fun for the survivor. No one's really having a good time there. It's just sort of the requirement for you to do that. Now, I'm stupid. I don't care about winning as much. I still try to win, but, I've still been playing as how I normally play and trying to get 12 hooks. But I got to say, I'm losing like 1 in 5 matches now, or 1 in 4 matches or something like that, but by having like, 2 or more people escape. And you look at most streamers, they're winning 99% of their games. So to go from like a 99% win rate to like, 75%, that's a pretty stark decrease in my win rate. And I definitely feel it. And I could definitely see the frustrations of like consistently getting shitty perks over and over again and leading to more frustration from killer, which leads to more tunneling, which leads to more defenses from survivors, bringing more syringes and styptics and BMPs and stuff like that to end the game faster and all that stuff. So yeah, we are sort of caught in this endless cycle. I don't really know how it's going to fix itself, because there's just it's like it's a perpetual engine machine, basically. Like it's already going. I don't think it can be stopped at this point. Basically, every killer would just have to simultaneously decide they're going to play for fun and not tunnel anymore, which would make survivors realize that, okay, they can just chill and not have to really, bring in all the super sweaty stuff too. So that's pretty much what's going on in Chaos Shuffle. I still love it. It's a lot more challenging than the regular game mode for sure as killer. But for the most part, I would say that is the source of all of it. In a nutshell, summarization: game too hard with no slowdown or perks as killer. Killers feel the need to tunnel more, and they can because there's no protection, and survivors will bring response to that because they're getting focused down much quicker. That's it. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about Chaos Shuffle. Again, I'm still enjoying it, but yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.